Hello, nice people. My name is Fran Mayko from AAA Northeast, and with me today is Ellesio, Senior Manager of Fleet Operations in Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey for AAA Northeast. And we're here today to talk about a very important topic that every driver should be aware of. It's the slow down, move over law that has been passed in all 50 states. But before we begin our discussion, I'd like to share with you a portion of a video. It features one of our employees who has been a victim of slow down, move over of a slow down, move over crash in Connecticut several years ago.
Nothing is the same as it was at all. Of course, slow down, move over. Pay attention to driving. Put the phones down. Pay attention to everything around you. Otherwise, you'll put somebody else in a position just like this.
We were very concerned about what occurred in this accident. We knew that the AAA tow truck driver was seriously injured. And this was all as a result of being rear-ended by this box truck. And again, he was off to the right shoulder when this happened. So again, this is a prime example of the move over law not being effective at the time, because this particular operator of the box truck failed to move over and struck the AAA driver that was off to the side of the road. If you see flashing lights on the side of the roadway, it is your responsibility to slow down and move over if possible.
Be careful out there. I mean, just be careful. If you don't hit somebody out there, it could be somebody's kid, somebody's parent, grandparent, just anybody. Just slow down and move over, pay attention, and just drive.
When I see this video of Jay, one of our employees in Connecticut, it actually brings me to tears. And as you can see, when motorists ignore the law, bad things can happen to good people. So on that note, Mike, I'd like to talk about slow down, move over, and what exactly is the purpose of this law, especially in Connecticut.
Yes, thanks, Fran. The slow down, move over law requires drivers traveling on a highway with at least 2 lanes in each direction when they're approaching an emergency vehicle that's stationary or traveling slower than the posted speed limit on the shoulder or breakdown lane. They're required to slow down to a reasonable speed below the posted speed limit, and if driving in an adjacent lane, move over 1 lane if they can do so safely. This is any vehicle: police car, fire truck, rescue vehicle, tow truck, DOT truck, state worker, parkway authority, any one of those vehicles on the side of the road. Slow down, move over. Okay.
You know, I just happened to read something the other day. Slow down, move over laws. The first one was passed in 1996. I didn't realize that. It was actually in South Carolina, and it involved a paramedic who was struck and killed. He was responding to a crash. And since then, every state in the nation, including Hawaii, which was, I think, in 2012, became the 50th and final state to pass such legislation. So think about this. If a driver violates the law, what kind of penalties do they face? And you can talk from Connecticut's perspective, because that's what we know best.
Yes, and the fines vary from state to state, but in Connecticut, fines can range from $2,500 with injuries to $10,000 if deaths, if the result is unfortunately a death. But the fines are about the same in our neighboring states as well.
Okay. And I know in Connecticut, we passed the law in 2009, but it's only been in recent years that AAA Northeast has taken a high profile interest in the law. Obviously, it's because of Jay's situation, which really prompted us to do this. But what about other situations, other members of the fleet? throughout our 5-state footprint, how have they faced or dealt with slow down, move over?
You know, it's something they face every day when they're out on the roadside, and just like emergency workers and state police, they're out there, they're on the side of the road, and this area is their office. So every day cars are zooming by within inches or feet of where they're working. So it's you know, as these cars go whizzing by, we talk about it all the time here, and keep an eye on traffic, make sure you're out of harm's way, make sure you set up your scene safely so you have your member or the person you're helping out of harm's way, and keep an eye on traffic. But really, you know, if we're following this slow down, move over law, everybody passing them is doing the same thing, and they're that much more safe while they're out there doing their job.
So in our own company, how many folks have experienced situations, you know, slow down, move over situations? I know you had told me once, you yourself early in your career, you were a near victim. How many cases have we had in our company alone?
You know, unfortunately, you know, just in recent years, 4 or 5 quite serious ones, including Jay's that we just discussed and watched his video. But we've had some really serious accidents, and really every one of them has a close call to talk about. Every technician, and they've had a close call. As a matter of fact, unfortunately, if you Google AAA truck or AAA accident or AAA Westport, you know, the first thing you see is a picture of this tow truck that was struck on the side of the road. So pretty scary reality.
So what would you say are the main causes for such crashes on our roadways? You know, what are the reasons? Why do these things happen?
Well, you know, speeding, definitely the number one cause, not slowing down and moving over, and distractions. You know, people are on their phones, looking down at the radio, answering a text message, even staring at, maybe staring at the distraction, and not paying attention to what they're doing. So, but speeding definitely, and distractions are a close number 2.
How about impairment? Has there been any issues involving impaired drivers, whether it's drugged or drunk driving?
Yes, unfortunately, absolutely. Been some studies, and we've even looked at different lighting requirements, and folks who are intoxicated get drawn to those flashing lights. So yes, unfortunately, absolutely.
Wow. How about these folks that do pass, you know, you're on the interstate and you do see flashing lights. Why do you suppose, I mean, people know that when you see an emergency vehicle with flashing lights, you need to pull over, but why do you think people tend to ignore that on our interstates?
Well, you know, I don't know that everybody knows the law. So spreading the word and doing whatever we can to spread the word, and get that word out there so people do know. But I think that's probably the number one reason is awareness. You know, when somebody's rushing, they're trying to get to work, but it only takes a second or two to slow down and move over.
As you know, as you just mentioned too, you were saying that the company has taken a very focused interest in slow down, move over, and we're trying to get the word out. We're always trying to do that. How have we attempted in recent years to create a greater awareness of the law?
Yeah, we've done quite a bit. Following Jay's accident, unfortunately, another accident last year that was very serious. We filmed PSAs with local police agencies, and we actually did that across our footprint in multiple states: Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New York, and we used local celebrities as well. Cecil Fielder, Sam Kennedy from the Boston Red Sox, Cecil from the Yankees, and film these PSAs and broadcast them on TV and social media, rest areas, gas stations, wherever we could get that exposure. But we've also wrapped trucks So we have moving billboards out there with the slow down, move over law, and those trucks are around every day doing calls, and people get to see the law and the logo. A lot of, as you and I have done many times, whatever we can get involved in and spread the word and participate in a media event, we're going to do that.
And we've got some very, very strong partnerships too with state police, which we're pretty thankful for, because without them, they are the folks that appear to sustain most of the slow down, move over, near hits or near misses, depending on your point of view. There's been a lot in recent years.
Yeah.
So I think it's been about 3 years since Jay's crash, 2 or 3 years. And I would like to say from AAA Northeast's point of view, we really tackled the issue. But from your own personal point of view, have you seen any change in behavior on roadways? And I know it's probably not a scientific determination, but what's your feeling on driver behavior since we've been promoting this?
I'm very sensitive to it, so I look at it all the time, and I really do feel like we've made some progress, and I see people moving over, but I don't see enough. And I think sometimes maybe people fall back on bad habits, or they were distracted briefly, and whoop, look at that, I'm coming up on an emergency vehicle a little too late. So it needs to be a focus all the time, and we need to get more of that word out. But I think we've made some progress. But we'll keep going.
You know what I've discovered? Every time the local media picks up one of our stories or news releases, going home from work at night, I notice people do take it into consideration. If there is an emergency responder on the side of the road, I've noticed they do slow down. I notice they do move over. But as days go by, they tend to forget. So that's why it's important to always get this word out. Absolutely. So it's pretty obvious that you're passionate about promoting this law. What is one thing you want motorists to understand about slow down, move over?
It only takes a second, a split second, where you're not paying attention, that you could run into the back of an emergency vehicle or clip an emergency worker. This is something that you have to pay attention to. You have to be out there. You have to know it's a law. More importantly, you have to know you could seriously injure or even kill someone if you don't take this few seconds out to slow down a little bit and move over and pay attention to what's going on, so you can avoid causing serious injury. Okay, well, good advice, Mike. Words of wisdom that we as drivers really should be heeding. And I'd like to thank you for your time. Another way we're trying to get the word out. And of course, I'd like to thank our virtual audience for their interest. So be well, be safe. And the next time you see flashing lights on the roadways, please slow down, move over, because it is the law.